Hey everyone, it's Jacqueline.
And Adam.
For Pixie Dust PhD. For today's video, we're going to play a little game where I'm going to quiz Adam about Disney Vacation Club. So we do own Disney Vacation Club. We both like going to the parks. It's definitely a joint venture. We're both named on our deeds. But Disney Vacation Club has definitely been something that I've been driving in our relationship more than Adam. For example, I didn't give Adam a choice when it came to our home resorts. I kind of just said, hey, I want to do this Disney Vacation Club thing. We talked about that in depth. But then it was like, okay, we're picking our home resorts, and I was just like, this is what it's gonna be. So today we're gonna quiz Adam and see what he really knows about Disney Vacation Club. I prepared some questions that are on my phone. We have some lovely adult beverages with us to make this a little bit more lively, but of course, also some seltzers and waters. Drink responsibly, friends.
Hopefully I don't embarrass myself too much, but I'm feeling somewhat confident I'll be able to get at least a couple of these questions right.
I don't think it'll be as hard as he's built it up in his mind, but we shall see. All right, question one. In like a few sentences or less, how would you describe Disney Vacation Club? Like, what is DVC?
DVC is a giant marketing scheme to get you to buy timeshare.
I mean, I accept.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Also can save you money in the long run on rack rate rooms.
Yeah, fair. Okay, I would have said, a Disney timeshare. The scheme is not totally wrong. All right, question two. Where do we own a Disney Vacation Club?
So we own a resale contract at Bay Lake Tower, and we recently bought the villas in Disneyland.
Yeah, the Villas at Disneyland Hotel is the real name. Yeah.
Okay. Got villa.
That's good.
It's a hotel.
Yeah, I think we'll count that. Good job. Okay.
All right, moving on.
How many points are on each of our contracts?
Okay, so the one we bought recently for the Villa Hotel.
Villas at Disneyland Hotel.
It's a long name. Villas at Disneyland Hotel. That was 150. Mm-hmm. And our resale contract, I believe, is 90.
Oh, good job. Yeah, correct. Cheers.
I almost said 100 there, but I didn't. So good for me.
I did think the 90 might trip you up because that wasn't something we really planned. When you buy a contract on the resale market, of course, you can't change anything about the contract. And we talked about anywhere between like 60 and 100 points. And then this contract that came up was just 90, but we didn't. Specifically, yeah. Yeah, obviously we didn't really have any say in that other than like, yeah, let's buy this contract. All right, question 4. What is a use year?
Okay, I think I got this, Jacqueline. A use year is essentially the time period in which you have your allotted contract points, and it resets every year during that certain month.
Yeah, I'll take that for sure. Good job.
Great.
And then what is our use year?
I believe it's August.
It is August.
Yeah.
Good job.
And I'm glad I know that.
Okay. Are annual dues related to your use year?
Aren't they just always due in January?
If you pay in one lump sum, I think they're due mid-January. I want to say January 15th, but then they usually give you a month grace period, so a lot of people pay them in February. But you can also have them paid monthly if they're taking it directly out of your US bank account. But because we pay on a credit card, we just do it, once a year in January.
So then I guess no, it has nothing to do with your use.
So yeah, even though we have an August use year, our annual dues, we're still paying them off in January.
All right, well, thanks for the extra help on that one.
Cheers.
Don't know if I would have gotten that without you.
Well, I think you mostly got it. I think that's a common thing people get confused about is, well, my use year is August. Why am I paying annual dues in January or whatever? But they're not related.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Just like we want your money at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, so annual dues are always on the calendar cycle, and then your points are on your use year cycle. And maybe those things line up, but probably they don't.
Cool.
Right. Next question, still related to use year. So are you limited to using your vacation points only during your use year?
No, because you can borrow, right?
Mm-hmm. And?
Oh, there's more?
You can bank and borrow.
Yeah, you can bank and borrow.
Okay.
I knew that.
Tell the people, what does that mean?
Okay, great. Hey, people. So when you bank, that means you can basically defer using your points from one use year to a future use year. Borrowing means you're pulling points forward in time from a future use year to this year, so you can use it for your stay. Mm-hmm. Does that pass the test?
Yeah, so then if we were booking a single vacation, in theory, how many use years worth of points could you use for one vacation?
I guess 3 in total.
Yeah, 3. Good job. Wow, see, he's not doing bad at all. All right, and before we move forward, we are going to take a quick drinks break, and Adam will show you how to make this fantastic espresso martini.
Today, I'm making an espresso martini. What you see in front of you is everything you need to make an A+ at home espresso martini. So we'll go through the ingredients as I use them, but essentially, you need some fresh espresso. This is a quad shot because we're making a double portion, and we'll take it from here. The first rule of any cocktail is you need to start with ice. You need the least expensive things in the cocktail shaker for everything else. So load this up with ice. Best cocktails are nice and cold. Next, we've got some chocolate bitters. Just a couple shakes will do, right in the tin. Next, we've got a couple kinds of sugar. This is a homemade cinnamon syrup, simply made by smashing up some sticks of cinnamon and steeping it in a syrup solution. So right now, I'm using 2 syrups. What you want to try and do is have roughly an equal weight of sugar to coffee, depending on how strong or how sweet you want your drink. So it's about 1 ounce, so 1/2 ounce for each of us. Then I go a little heavier on the coffee syrup. This coffee syrup is decaf, but Jacqueline made a fantastic little recipe. And it's much, much thicker than the cinnamon syrup. All right, so in total, this is about 2.5 ounces of syrup. We also have this coffee liqueur, Kahlua Classic. It's a rum base. About 2 ounces of this in. So that's about 4.5 ounces of relatively sweet liquid. Also, a good pro tip, salt your drinks. You salt your food, salt your drinks. All right. All right, next up is coffee. This is a quad espresso from Starbucks. It's about 2 ounces. Another 1.5 ounces. So right now we have roughly an equal split between the sugar and the coffee. Next up is your spirit. You can do a lot of different things here. Vodka will give you the most coffee taste. If you like a little bit of funk, rum is also a good option. Some people love tequila too. It's really up to you, but you do want something that won't overpower the coffee. A good rule of thumb here is you want about 2 ounces per espresso martini because you want these to wake you up and mess you up. So right now I've got a pretty full shaking tin. So what I like to do is just top it off with some ice because that espresso, we did let it cool, but you don't want it hot, so it did melt the ice a little bit. So we're gonna try and carefully top this off and then top the tin. Now, gotta really get a good seal here. All right, so good rule of thumb here is you want to shake it until both tins start to frost up. So I've got a good seal, a couple fingers on top, a couple fingers on the bottom here, and then you shake. Good 15 seconds. And at the end, I'll give it a little swirl. And coffee should have a really nice foam due to its properties. Now, for topping, what we like to do is double strain it. That'll give it a nice head, good creamy finish. We also like to sprinkle a little bit of nutmeg, a little bit of chocolate on top as well. We've got some nicely frosted cubes that we just pulled out of the freezer. Always recommend to keep your cocktails nice and chilly, to put them in the freezer for at least 5 minutes, if not longer, before serving. Okay, this is quite a full drink. May have some leftovers. All right, let's see if we can get a nice even pour. Wow, talk about perfect. Don't want to spill. All right, last but certainly not least, your toppings. A little nutmeg goes a long way, as does a little bit of chocolate. It's microplane. Wow, it smells amazing. I know you can't smell it, but it smells really good. Okay, and then to top it off, a little bit of dark chocolate, also in the microplane. This is obviously not necessary for a fantastic espresso martini, but if you're at home and you have the materials, definitely adds that little extra touch. And there we go. All right, now I've got an official taste tester coming in. Cheers.
Cheers.
Enjoy.
For anyone newer to the channel, that drinks break might have been a little bit out of place to you, but for older viewers of the channel, thanks so much for your loyalty and coming back. I know a lot of you have been asking for Adam cocktail content for a long time, so this is our first attempt at that. Happy to have your comments down below.
Yep.
How did you think about it? You know, did you like the format? Do you want them to be standalone videos? All that stuff.
Cheers to you.
Thank you, yeah, for the encouragement.
Yeah, appreciate it.
But now let's get back to the quiz. Adam, when can you book a Disney Vacation Club room?
I know it's different between your home resort and a non-home resort. So I believe it's 11 months out for your home resort. And I'm like 60% sure it's 6 months out. 7. 7. All right, give me like 75% credit on that one.
You can have a half point.
I'll take a half point.
And then do you know what time you can book Disney Vacation Club if you're doing it right at the 11 or 7 month mark?
Is it 7 a.m. Eastern time?
No, that's neither ADR time or Disney Vacation Club booking time.
6 a.m. Eastern time.
That's ADR time.
Okay, midnight. I'm guessing at this point.
That's a fail. It's 8 a.m. Eastern Walt Disney World time for DVC. So booking DVC time-wise is much kinder to those of us who aren't morning people than ADR day.
So I could, okay. So if you're, let's say, booking at the villas at Disneyland.
With our home resort points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would still be 8 a.m.
To my knowledge, I haven't done it, but that's a good question.
All right, to be determined.
I'm getting quizzed now, what the heck?
Tables have turned.
Last I checked, they were all 8 a.m. Eastern, but it truly isn't something I've thought about for anywhere other than Disney World. Next question. What can you tell me about the cancellation policy?
Wait, you can cancel? I thought you're locked in forever.
You didn't actually think that, did you?
No.
Okay, just making sure.
Being a little facetious. I honestly don't know what the cancellation policies are. Please fill me and our viewers in, Jacqueline.
0 points.
0. Big fat 0.
That was a big fat 0. Okay, so you can cancel, okay, so you booked a DVC trip. We're talking about canceling a trip, not your contract. You can sell off your contract, that's a different process. So you booked a trip, something comes up, and you can cancel it or modify it, kind of period, up until 1 day before you check in. But if you're doing that cancellation or modification between 1 day and 30 days, then there's basically a penalty for canceling, on short notice. So you still have all your points, but they go into what's called a holding account. And so they're not like the full vacation points. They have some restrictions then. So with points in your holding account, first of all, they'll expire at the end of that use year. You can't bank or borrow them. Like they're there, you got to use them. So there's kind of pressure and a rush
to rebook.
To rebook. And you can only use them for bookings 60 days out, which means you're stuck with whatever's available 2 months out, which can be tough. So it's a pretty big, disincentive to cancel. Or if you are going to cancel or modify, just do it more than 30 days in advance of your set check-in.
Yeah, so just in general, it sounds like as long as you cancel the stays more than 30 days out, there's not going to be any significant issues.
No, I mean, it will matter a bit in terms of if you cancel 31 days out, your points will go back and they won't be in your holding account. But depending on what use year those points were from and where your vacation was in relation to your use year, you may still be running up in terms of they may be hitting their expiration. But if that's not a problem, generally speaking, yeah, if you cancel more than 31 days in advance, you don't have to deal with the holding account, which I think is the biggest penalty, in my opinion.
Awesome.
All right, 2 questions left, but these are a little bit longer, so we saved them for the end. Got some liquid courage in both of us. First, tell me about resale versus direct. What are things you think people need to know about that?
Boy, an open-ended question. By the way, having drinks like this really gives you a great opportunity to collect your thoughts before you answer the quiz question. I would say the biggest difference is resale is always going to be a lot cheaper, but you're always treated kind of like a second-class citizen according to Walt Disney World.
Okay, those are kind of 2 separate thoughts. So the first one, resale's cheaper. What do you mean by that?
So the resale market, you are buying through a broker directly from another individual looking to get rid of their contract for whatever reason, or get rid of some points on their contract.
The whole thing.
The whole thing, yes.
It has to be the whole thing.
It has to be the whole thing. So resale means someone is setting a price. They look at the market. They say, I'm selling it for X. Disney has a right of first refusal. I remember that, that they can buy back someone's contract if they're looking to sell it. But then it just goes out into the marketplace and there's a supply and demand and a price for those points and people can choose to purchase it. Direct means you're buying directly from Disney. They have a vault full of points and contracts that they are dealing out to folks.
I mean, yes and no in terms of the vault, but sure.
Yeah. That's how I think about it, is you're dealing directly with Disney, the other you're dealing with a broker and an individual selling their contract. In terms of the first is direct and the other is resale. And Disney, of course, has a larger markup when you buy direct from them because it can be a newer resort. There's a lot of restrictions and rules on which resorts can be resold potentially in your contract. Is that right? No?
Okay, let's put resale restrictions aside. That's the second part of your thought. The first part is just price. So.
Yes. Resale is always going to be cheaper because there's not the Disney World markup.
For your initial purchase price.
Yes.
Right. It's worth noting that annual dues are the same.
Correct. Yes. When you have a contract, those annual dues are going to be the same regardless.
Of how you bought your contract.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
But acquiring those points, the contract.
Buying the contract in the first place.
Yeah, getting those points originally. Disney is always going to put a markup if you're buying direct from them versus someone who is looking to exit a contract. They're typically willing to offer a discount so they can get rid of said contract.
Totally. Okay, so then the second part of your point was resale members are treated like second-class citizens, I think you said.
Sure. Well, I think Disney has an incentive to make sure that the folks who bought direct from them and paid more money receive a little bit more of a benefit for the additional money they're paying. Is it worth it? That's out for debate.
Okay, but so tell me, what do you know about these restrictions? What are the ones you'd want to highlight if someone was asking you about, why are you guys DVC members or why did you buy the way you did?
Yeah, so I think when you're buy direct from Disney, you're classified and you have a certain number of points.
Oh, do you know what that threshold is?
I remember we talked about this. It's 150 now.
Yeah, right now.
It was less.
It's been...
It used to be a lot less.
Used to be nothing, and then 25, and then... Yeah, it's just been making its way up the ranks. Anyway, good job. That's 1 point for you. 150.
Thank you. I'll tally that one up. So I would say when you buy direct, Disney will try and throw in these little extras, make you feel extra special, warm and fuzzy inside, because you are a official member having bought directly from them.
What kind of extras? Can you give me an example?
So I just remember this. We had a really big deal in our last trip. You tap the magic band and it says "Welcome Home,"
Oh yeah, so we had that happen even as resale members, and
Yeah,
I remember being
I think it
really
was a
confused
bug.
about that. I think it was a bug.
I don't think they don't want that benefit for the resale people.
I kind of wonder if it's just looking to see if your hotel reservation is on points. So like I would also wonder if that happens to people who rent points. Like when we were renting points, the like welcome home thing wasn't a thing yet, to my knowledge. But
Right.
no, like more material, like real membership extras, not just welcome home at the Mickey Taft style.
Yes, I do think there's like additional at parks at night events for members.
Okay, yeah, Moonlight Magic.
That don't apply to resale folks.
Mhm,
and then
true.
the big one that I think we've circled in our calendar for an upcoming trip is we get to go to the Top of the World.
Top of the World Lounge, yeah.
Yeah, so they're
I don't know that that's the big one, but sure, yeah.
It's something though.
It's a lounge that
Yeah.
only full direct members can access. The resale members can't. That's good.
Yeah. So just those little types of things where they try and sweeten the pot.
Yeah. Monetarily, what do you think is the biggest membership extra perk for direct full members?
I'm drawing a blank on this one, Jacqueline.
It's the annual passes.
Oh, yes. That makes a lot of sense to me. So apparently you get a discount.
No.
No? No discount?
There's no discount on annual passes.
Okay.
So we live not in Florida.
Sure.
So if we wanted to buy an annual pass to Disney World, there's one pass we're allowed to buy. It's the highest tier pass. As full direct DVC members that qualify for membership extras, we're allowed to buy the second highest tier pass, which is typically restricted to Florida residents only. So it's not a discount on the pass, you're still paying the full price. You're just allowed to buy a lower tier, which you otherwise wouldn't be.
Yeah.
But it saves a bunch of money, especially if you're buying like 4 of these, if you have a family or whatever. Like a lot of people really, really like that perk.
Yeah, it makes sense, I think, if I was in Disney shoes to you're already paying us a bunch of money.
Yeah. You're probably gonna come down a bunch of times. When you come down, you're gonna spend so much money at dining and merch and whatever else. So makes sense.
We give you a little price break.
Okay, so then other than membership extras, what other like resale restrictions did you want to talk about?
I'm not sure, honestly.
Oh no, these are like the most important things.
When we say resale restrictions, I'm just under the gun here, right? So
Okay, so when we were only resale members,
yes.
or for future resale members, there are restrictions placed on your points. There's kind of 2 categories of that. Ringing a bell?
Does it have to do with banking and borrowing?
It does not.
Dang. In that case, you can go ahead and give me a big old 0.
All right, that's a
this one.
0. It's like a double 0 because that's a 2-parter.
No, it's tough. This is a long question.
It is a long.
folks.
It's a. If you were taking this in grade school, this would be like a 2-pager. Like write me an essay. Okay, so do you remember when we only owned the Bay Lake Tower contract?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And then there was a resort at Walt Disney World that we couldn't stay at.
Yes. The Riviera.
The Riviera, right?
Yeah, that's a nice resort, by the way.
So that's one big restriction.
So if we were full members at that time,
Uh-huh.
we could have stayed there.
Now that we have a 150-point contract direct from Disney at Villas at Disneyland Hotel, we can use those points to stay at Riviera.
But not the resale contract.
We can't use the resale contract points.
Wow. That's unfortunate.
So that's a little bit of a 2-parter as well. Like under that one thing is if you buy a resale contract, your points are going to be restricted, potentially in different ways. So if you buy a resale contract at Riviera, you can only use those resale points at Riviera. You cannot use them anywhere else. And the same is also true at Villas at Disneyland Hotel. If you buy a resale contract at VDH, you can only use those points at VDH. You can't use them anywhere else. Presumably, they will continue this trend for all of the new builds to come, but that's to be determined. If you bought a resale contract anything before Riviera, so like ours is Bay Lake Tower, it's not like an older resort, but it's not one of the new shiny ones. We can use those points at Bay Lake Tower. We can also use them at anything older than Riviera. So we can use those points at the Poly, at the Grand Flow, at Copper Creek, at Vero Beach, at Aulani, like almost all of the resorts, just not Riviera, not Villas at Disneyland Hotel. Presumably not anything new.
Yeah, I did not know that.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, maybe I may have solved this at one point, but it just definitely did not stick, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for us, it wasn't that big of a deal when we bought the Bay Lake Tower contract because yes, we wouldn't be able to stay at Riviera or anything newer, but there are so many other really good options still at Walt Disney World.
Yeah, there's so many resorts at Disney World. I don't think that was ever something that registered as a huge red flag that I talked into my memory banks.
No, yeah, I mean, it is a bummer to not be able to use those points at Riviera, but it was like, well, that's just one resort, like whatever.
Yeah, one resort of a dozen.
Yeah,
So,
well, maybe more, I don't know.
Yeah, I just said a dozen. Yeah.
All right, well done. That was a good discussion of direct versus resale. You did decent.
Yeah, I'll give myself partial credit.
Oh yeah, definitely some partial credit. Okay, here's a fun one that I saved for the end because of Liquored Up. Can you name all of the Disney Vacation Club resorts? I would suggest you start outside of Disney World and then move to Disney World.
Okay, this is gonna be fun. I'm gonna start with Alani, just because that's way out there and that's an easy one. Let's do the villas at Disneyland Hotel. There is also Grand Californian count.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Does Grand Californian count?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it for. No, there's one more. Thanks for the facial hint. All right, give me a lifeline on this one.
There's 2 beach resorts in the Southeast.
In the Southeast?
Yes.
So, did I get all the ones, though, in Disneyland? There's only 2, right?
Yeah, Disneyland's only 2. You got both Disneyland and you got Aulani out in Hawaii. Now there's 2 beach resorts, not at Disney World. One's in Florida. One's in South Carolina.
Wow, I am drawing a blank because maybe I'm just not getting it. But
okay, well.
is it like something in Hilton Head or?
Hilton Head, yep.
Oh, Hilton Head. Wow. Okay, great.
Okay.
Let's keep moving. And then is there something like in Key West or Miami or?
No, I don't actually know like totally where it is, but it's definitely not in Key West. I don't think it's in Miami either. I'm pretty sure it's only like a couple hours from the parks. A lot of people do like a combo parks beach vacation at this resort.
I don't know what it's called.
Vero Beach.
Oh, Vero Beach. Okay.
I'm pretty sure we've talked about it.
We have, yeah. It's ringing a bell now. I just didn't realize that was like something you could spend vacation points on because
It's a DVC home resort.
Yeah, but here I am not connecting the two.
Hey.
So there I go. Okay, so missed a couple on this 15-point question.
I think more than 15.
More than 15-point question. So let's just keep on rolling. So yeah, let's just do the monorail loop and just get that out of the way.
Yep.
So we got Bay Lake Tower.
Yep.
Grand Flow does have DVC. So
Yep.
does Poly.
Yep.
That's the monorail loop. Great.
Yeah, that's the monorail loop. It's not the full Magic Kingdom area.
Yeah, then you've got the Fort Wilderness is not. The cabins are not a home resort?
Well, the cabins are not at Fort Wilderness. The cabins you're talking about.
Wilderness Lodge.
Wilderness Lodge has DVC,
Yeah.
but it's split up into 2 different properties. So I will not accept Wilderness Lodge as a correct answer.
Okay. Dang. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate because I'm not going to remember it off the top of my head at this point in time, this far into my drink. So, moving on to the boardwalk area. So there's boardwalk. There's beach club. There's is it yacht club? Is one too? No, that's the restaurant. Is it yachtsman?
No, yacht club is an entire resort. It's just not a DVC resort.
Okay, cool. Saratoga Springs, Key West.
Well, what's its real name? It's Old Key West.
Old Key West.
I'll give that to you.
Old with an E, right?
No.
Oldie
No.
Key West.
Just Old Key West.
Okay.
Just normal old.
Dang.
Normal Key West.
Okay. And then we got the Animal Kingdom's Lodge and the Jumbo House, right? Kalani?
It's Jumbo.
Jumbo, not Jumbo.
Not Jumbo. And what did you say after that?
Kalani? Is it Kalani or no?
Kidani.
Kidani.
But I'll give you that because Animal Kingdom is correct. Because so unlike at Wilderness Lodge, Kidani and Jumbo are under the same association. So you would just own Animal Kingdom villas. But there are separate sides of Kidani and Jumbo.
All right, cool. Okay, I just need to think here. Disney Springs area. Am I missing anything else?
Other than the 2 at Wilderness Lodge, there's 1 you haven't said. We've talked about it in this video.
I'm sure we have, but here we are.
It is not as convenient as Beach Club or Boardwalk, but it's got like similar vibes in terms of theme park access. You can get to Epcot and Hollywood Studios from here without taking a bus.
Yeah, I'm just blanking. I do know this, like in my brain box.
It has a rooftop restaurant.
Oh, Riviera.
Riviera!
Oh my God, get out of here.
We did it! Okay, is anything happening in your brain about the Two at Wilderness Lodge?
I am gonna go, oh, when you say it at this point.
Okay, so no.
Yeah.
So, Boulder Ridge. So, and originally that was just called Villas at Wilderness Lodge or Wilderness Lodge Villas, I think. But then they added the second one, so they changed it to Boulder Ridge. And the second one is Copper Creek.
Dang.
Yeah.
Copper Creek and Boulder Ridge.
Cabins at Copper Creek, right? Copper Creek Cabins and Villas, or is it Copper Creek Villas and Cabins? Cabins is definitely in the full name.
There's some good
Just
alliteration.
Like the Poly has like the bungalows in the full name.
Right, yeah. Okay.
You're close though.
Well, listen, I think I got a fair number of them. Vero Beach and Wilderness Lodge, they left me for dust though.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah.
Pretty good though. All right, and to wrap things up, this is kind of more a bonus question because I didn't think that you would be able to answer anything about this, but let's talk about Disney Vacation Club future. So they have announced new projects. Some are very concrete, some are like on the back burner, way more squishy, TBD, what'll actually happen, but there are 3 that I'm aware of. Do you know anything about what I'm talking about?
Let's go ahead and say no and just educate me and our curious viewers.
All right, so they're building a tower at the Polynesian.
Okay.
I think you did know that, right?
I did know that, yes. I didn't know this would be some different resort.
Well, they haven't announced if it'll be the same association or not.
Okay, that makes sense.
As of today, when we're recording this in very late September. So it might be part of the current Polynesian Village and Bungalows Resort. It might be its own standalone thing, but that is, to me, that counts as like the future of DVC. Like they're building a bunch more rooms at the Poly.
Yeah, makes sense.
Cool. And then earlier you kind of slipped up and like mentioned this, but you didn't know you were mentioning it, but they are changing the cabins at Fort Wilderness to be DVC.
Okay.
So there are existing cabins.
They're just...
And soon enough, they're going to be Disney Vacation Club cabins.
All right, well, I've charted. Let's go.
Yeah, pretty much. And then last but not least is like pre-pandemic, they announced this, and then it's been on the back burner ever since, like TBD if it'll actually get made, but the concept is there, so I think it'll get made at some point, is Reflections, the Lakeside Lodge. Have you heard about that one?
Zero about this.
I mean, that's fair. You know, it's still very amorphous, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, another resort in the sort of like Magic Kingdom area, not the monorail loop, but Magic Kingdom area.
Awesome. Well, listen, I'm all for better, more venues at Disney World because we sure love going there.
So true. So overall, I mean, I haven't done the tally yet. We'll see the graphic on screen, but I think you did pretty well.
Yeah, I was doing great till the essay questions.
The open-ended ones, those are always the hardest, aren't they? I hope you enjoyed this. If you have questions about Disney Vacation Club, leave those in the comments down below, and I'll do my best to get back to you with a useful answer. The channel also just has like so much DVC information on it that if you search my channel, there's a decent chance that whatever your question is, it may have already been addressed, but I'm also happy to just like point you that direction. But yeah, even though I 100%, I would say, am the driving force and the knowledge base for Disney Vacation Club, for our contracts and our vacations, you know, Adam did pretty well. I think he held up on his own.
Yeah, I like to consider myself an educated member of the DVC club.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Club,
better
club.
than some.
God, that was not good.
Club.
Listen, and if you tried making Espresso Martini, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear if you made something similar. I know that ours was a little bit extra, but listen, it was, hopefully yours was delicious.
I would also highly suggest rum instead of vodka if you have it around, because it's delicious.
Yeah, you don't need a coupe, you just need something cold to drink it out. Cheers. And let me know if you have any recommendations of future cocktails I should make.
Adam's spinning off his channel on my channel right now. We hope the rest of your day is magical, and we'll see you real soon at Pixie Dust PhD.
Bye.
Careful.